Good evening. Bonsoir tout le monde. It is great to be back in Singapore and joined by my colleague, the Minister of Export Promotion, International Trade and Economic Development, Mary Ng. Although it's probably more accurate to say I'm joining her tonight because she's been so often to the region over the past many months that it's great to be here with you. Je suis très heureux d'être ici à Singapour pour parler à des chefs d'entreprise de la région des possibilités que présente le Canada. Singapore is an economic powerhouse, a global hub in this dynamic region, and you all play a vital role as connectors to the world. It's why Canada is planning to open our trade gateway to the region right here. I just arrived from ASEAN in Jakarta, where I talked to leaders from across the Indo-Pacific. And this evening, I'm here to talk about what Canada has to offer. I want to open with a comment that I usually use at the end of my speeches back home. Canada is the best country in the world, and I'm working hard to make it even better. And what do I mean by that? Well, in part, it has to do with what I keep hearing from global CEOs about how Canada has the resources to power a net zero world. We have free trade deals with 2/3 of the globe's GDP, and we're the only G7 country with a free trade deal with every other G7 country. We have the best educated workers in the OECD. We embrace immigration and diversity, and we have stable democratic institutions and values. And what could be more important than stability and reliability in a time of such global uncertainty? Supply chain disruptions, climate change and extreme weather events, war in Europe, again, the erosion of democracy around the world. Now, we know well that no country is immune from global instability and corrosive politics. This is why the part about making Canada even better is so important. Our government has worked hard to make sure that we're building a strong, diverse, and growing economy with benefits that are felt by everyone. We introduced the Canada Child Benefit that gives 9 out of 10 families more support than ever before and has lifted 500,000 kids out of poverty, cutting child poverty in half since 2015 in Canada. We're moving forward on an affordable $10 a day childcare system that over the first 2 years has already helped women's participation in the workforce reach historic highs, which, as you know, is a significant contributor to our growing economy. La promesse du Canada, c'est d'améliorer la qualité de vie à chaque génération. The promise of Canada is that every generation can reach even higher by benefiting from the hard work of those who came before them. The promise that when you work hard, you can get ahead. Well, that promise needs to be secured. Because if people no longer believe that they or the next generation will do better, that's when people start to lose hope. And that's when corrosive political forces like populism, anger, and isolationism start to seep in. That's not good for democracy. That's not good for the planet. And of capital importance to people in this room, that's not good for business either. Les investisseurs d'à travers le monde s'intéressent beaucoup au Canada présentement. Major investors from around the world are catching on to the untapped potential of Canada and Canadians. Last year, Volkswagen announced that it will be investing billions in Canada with its first ever overseas electric vehicle battery gigafactory. And when the leaders at Volkswagen were asked why Canada, they pointed to our critical mineral supply chains, they pointed to our clean electricity grid, but mostly they said it was the caliber of Canadian workers that sealed the deal. And let me give you just one example of Canadian innovation that's coming up with the solutions the world needs. It's a company called Carbon Cure, which has found a way to take carbon pollution and inject it into concrete to make it even stronger. This company from the Atlantic coast of Canada now has a global reach and has mitigated an estimated 400 tons of CO2 right here across the Pacific in Singapore. Two different companies seizing the opportunities of a changing world and investing in a better future with Canada. Of course, I could have used examples in energy innovation, food security, AI technology, or even robotics sending us to the moon, but I would have been here all night. There's a lot going on in the world right now. In these times, it is incumbent upon us to recognize that the world is more deeply connected than ever. Climate policy is security policy, is social policy, is economic policy. On est ici pour travailler avec nos partenaires dans l'Indo-Pacifique, pour faire croître nos économies de manière à ce que tout le monde puisse en profiter. We're here to continue working with our Indo-Pacific partners to create more growth, growth that benefits everyone. This is the work ahead for us together, for Singapore and Canada, work that I'll be speaking about with Prime Minister Lee again tomorrow, as we have over the past years. And that is how we will foster hope and opportunity. If we create good jobs across the economy, if we hold fast to our democratic principles and values, if we make thoughtful investments that build a safer future while making sure that people are at the center of all of those decisions, then and only then do we build a better future for everyone. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so much.